all. Welcome back to another episode of the Agent Revolution podcast, the place where we deconstruct the biggest challenges facing today's real estate agents so that they can build a sustainable, profitable, but most of all, fulfilling real estate business. Our mission is to build a community of well-informed agents and investors who better serve their clients. I am super excited today to bring back my friend, Missouri mega agent Matt Smith. Today, we're talking about scaling a real estate business to over 500 transactions annually. But before we do that, book your free 30-minute business strategy call at meetmikewall.com. Mr. Matt, are you ready to rock for round two?
Yes, sir. Let's do this.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it, man. Well, before we dig into scaling a business to 500 transactions, for those of the audience who don't know you, man, give us a little background on Matt Smith and how he got into doing residential real estate.
Sure. I was I didn't grow up poor by any means, but didn't grow up wealthy. Had nobody in the business and sales. Never thought I'd be a salesperson. So I had a pretty humble beginnings, if you will. My funny story, my graduating high school class had 33 kids in it. So that's the big town I grew up in.
Wow.
So to have big dreams and stuff was just out of the ordinary, but I always seemed to have that in the back of my mind. And one day just decided I was going to quit the family business I was in that was just didn't line up with my long-term goals and work on myself and work on self-development. And here we are about 8 years later and been life-changing for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I've watched you, man, and just been thoroughly impressed with your journey and your meteoric rise in Missouri there. And, you know, one thing I'm curious about with you, how did you decide the vehicle would be real estate?
Honestly, kind of fell into it. I was in radio sales for a while and just kind of venturing out, seeing what I wanted to do when I grow up type of thing. And then my girlfriend at the time worked in a property management company. And so we went to their work functions and different things. And the owner of the company actually begged me to come work for him. Didn't really beg me, but asked me to come work for him 2 or 3 years in a row at different functions. And finally I said, man, how much money are we talking? How much money could I make? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, you're selling something tangible. You're not selling air. So I'd be willing to bet I could double your income. And I'm like, sold, signed up, went to my real estate course, and that's how it started.
Yeah, that's awesome. And where at in Missouri are you, Matt?
So we have 2 locations. We're right outside of Fort Leonard Wood. We serve a lot of the military community here. In St. Robert, Missouri is one of our offices, and our other one is in Rolla, Missouri, which is a big hospital and college town.
Okay. How much of your business would you say is military?
I would say probably 40% or so is military.
Okay, that's a large percentage, man. That's awesome. Yeah. And so for you guys, you know, obviously your home base, I think, is in that military town, right? And then your office number 2 would be the other one.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, the office number 2 is catching up with office number 1 pretty quick. So
is it really?
Yeah.
And so how did you pick that location? Was it just kind of a natural progression?
Yeah, so I mean, we're in a small rural area, so each office is 20 miles away from each other. So it's not like I've got locations all over the state. I mean, we travel back and forth to each office, and sometimes the office and show in both locations and that sort of thing. But it got to the point where my name was growing and my reputation was growing, and I just had a lot of people that kept giving me the objection in the other town because I wanted to work there because I grew up there. And I wanted to work in that town, and I thought that I could really serve the community there. And people said, well, where's your office? And that was the biggest number one complaint I kept having. And then as the team grew and as we continued to grow, we had the resources to do that. And I had agents that wanted to focus on that location. So, whenever I jumped in and really started to jumpstart this team, I opened 2 locations within a 2-month period.
Yeah.
So it was 2 grand openings back to back, one on one day, one the next day. So that's how I operate, though. If you're going to do anything, you got to jump in with both feet. Otherwise, it's not what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. So when you got into this business, I assume you got in like everybody else, right? You were a solopreneur. You were grinding on your own. How long did you do that for?
About a year.
About a year?
Probably a little less than a year. I was pretty fortunate early on in the business. My first full year in real estate, I sold 74 transactions for over $10 million in volume.
Wow.
And just got to the point where I was dropping the ball on a daily basis. I love being in the field, talking with people, and I'm a big believer in do what you love. If you do what you love, you're going to excel at it, right? And go all in on your strengths and find great people to fill in the voids and fill in the things that maybe you're not so good at. So my first hire was an assistant to help me with the paperwork and organization. I mean, just because I would forget termite inspections, I wouldn't check in with the title company. I'd show up at the wrong time for closing. You know, it was just as a solo agent. There was one time I had over 40 pending transactions as an independent agent by myself. And I'm like, I don't know where to go, you know?
Yeah.
So that was my first hire, and that person's actually with me today. Is one of my lead buyers agents. Turned from my first assistant to lead buyers agent. So it's a pretty cool story.
Okay. And so your admin was your first hire, and what does the team look like today?
So today we're growing like crazy. So today I just had an operations meeting with my operations team, and I went into the room like, where did all you guys come from? Like, I remember when I wanted the team to be this big as the operations. So it's just kind of grown rather quickly, but we have 9 operations members, which is really that's the foundation of our business. Without a good operations team, they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that allow us salespeople to do the things that we do and take care of our clients. And we've got 17 agents currently.
Okay.
So we've got nine operations members, which kind of does the receptionist and transaction coordinator, listing coordinator, that sort of thing. And then we've got 17 on the floor agents.
Okay. And like, so for you, like how many years have you been doing it now, Matt?
My first full year was 2014. So
20?
Yeah, six and a half years.
Okay. You did 74 transactions that year, right? Mm-hmm. And last year you guys did 533 transactions for 95 million. This year you're on pace for 750 transactions, right? For probably 130, 140 million.
Actually, our average sales prices went up too. So we're on track for 155 right now.
Wow, dude, that is just some amazing growth, man. So obviously that doesn't happen by mistake. Talk to me about, like you mentioned, personal development being, kind of a critical component in your journey. So when you got into real estate that first year, what was kind of the playbook for you, man? Or did you have a coach, or how did you all? I mean, how did you find your way that year and then in the coming years?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, everything starts with mindset. If I could give you my playbook, if you wanted to become an agent, I could give you my playbook, all my training videos, everything on how I've built what I've built, how we've done what we've done. If you don't have the right mindset, it's useless. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I learned that early on. I got pretty fortunate and learned that by observing other people that maybe weren't thinking the correct way. And I thought, I need to adjust that. And so I just started looking. Now we live in a world where everything is at your fingertips. You can go on YouTube, you can buy books, you can listen to podcasts. I mean, 10 years ago, where would somebody learn from somebody like yourself and me for free? There's so much information for people out there. So my advice to people is don't get paralysis by analysis. Find people that have been there and done that. Yeah. Listen to them, learn from them, and try to implement. A lot of people get stuck in the ideas and they want to make it perfect before they go and jump in. I'm the exact opposite. Once I get the idea, I get a few bullet points of this is what I want to accomplish, and then we figure it out as we go. So, I mean, everything to me starts with mindset. So I did have a few online coaches. I took a couple of classes. I think I paid $900 for my first class. But I didn't really have a coach until I started developing a team. Okay.
All right. And so this mindset, obviously, by the way, I could not agree more with that. I think we have a lot of skilled agents with a bad mindset right now, and because it's sexier to teach skill set than it is mindset. Yeah. But I think people are getting it in the wrong order, right? We have a lot of people that, again, they know what to do, right? Like you can literally, they could recite to you exactly what to do to be successful in real estate, and yet they don't do it, right? Yep. And it's because they don't have the proper mindset, and it's because, they're never taught that, right? And so for you, like, you talk about skill set being, obviously that's one piece of the business, but the mindset being maybe the more important piece of the business. How did you get that part right?
By being willing to fail and fall on my face. Okay. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people tell me I'm a rare breed, but whenever I get my mindset to something, I'll run through a brick wall to get it done. Yeah. And if I fail and people laugh at me, oh well. I use that as motivation, So it's just one of those things. I've just got a weird mindset, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know where I developed it. I wish I knew so I could give you that secret. It's something that I've just got ingrained in me. I was born that way, and I don't know where it came from, but I'm so glad and fortunate that I have it.
Yeah. And when you scaled up to, to 533 transactions, building a team was not a choice for you. It was a necessity.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's like, you were probably at 74 transactions your first year, you were looking for some relief, right? Not only some relief, but you were looking to provide a better experience for your clients. And
absolutely.
So that really drove that decision to continue to hire. As you continue to build your core group, like, what do you think? I mean, I assume, like any other great agent or team leader, you're being driven by providing an excellent client experience so that you can get that repeat and referral business, right, that we all want. How are you making sure that carries through to the people you're bringing aboard?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great point. I was having a conversation with somebody a couple of days ago that reached out to me. I just like helping people. I just really, really enjoy that. So somebody from another state reached out and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a team. How would you start?" And so I did a lot of thinking because I didn't have a good answer for that at that point, because I started out of necessity. Yeah. And so if somebody's listening to this or watching this today and is like, "I really want to start a real estate team," the number one thing that you need to do is you cannot be a productive team leader if you haven't been there and done that. Yeah. So number one, if you're selling 5 houses a year, you don't need a team. You've got to show the people that you are going to lead how it needs to be done, and then fill in the pieces for the stuff that as your business grows. Yeah. I grew it out of necessity. I didn't grow a team because the team sounded cool. Yeah. I grew it because I was fortunate enough to have enough business, and I wasn't giving clients the service that they deserved. I mean, I preach to my team all the time. We are so blessed in this business that we get to help people with the biggest asset that they buy or sell in their lives. Yeah. We don't take that for granted. And so they deserve outstanding service, and I was dropping the ball. And so I filled in those blanks to make sure those people got the service that they needed. Yeah. That's really where it started from.
Yeah. The people that you're bringing aboard, Matt, like, how are you finding them? Like, where are you going to find these people? Are they being recommended to you by some of your peers and then people just in general in town that know that you're growing and want to be a part of what you're doing?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. We're in a pretty rural area, so we've reputation in small town. I mean, word of mouth, you can't beat word of mouth advertising. So a lot of our business comes from that way too, we're just very blessed in that way. But I want to hit on something that you said earlier, and then jump back to that. So number one, as you're growing a business, if it doesn't serve the client better, it's not going to work. I don't care what business you're in, whether it's real estate or you're selling shoes. If it's not better for the client, don't do it, period. Number two, this is my new number one. That was my number one. It used to be. Now it's culture first. If I don't have a good culture, if I don't have the right people that have the right mindset and are on the same mission, have the same values that I want in this team, then it's not going to work. Because if I don't maintain that culture, they're not going to give those clients that service that they deserve. Yeah. Yeah. So we're a culture first company. It's culture over sales. And really, that's easy to say. It's extremely hard to do. Yeah. And I when people ask what's my secret to growth, if I had to say one thing, it would be culture.
Yeah. And so talk about, like, what kind of things, what kind of characteristics do you look for in people that you're bringing in? Like, a culture is an identity, right? Mm-hmm. And you form a culture based around an identity that you have for your team. And so obviously that's client focused, but like when you sit down in front of a potential new hire, right? Well, whether it's a part of your operations staff or part of your agent staff, like, what are you looking for specifically, Matt?
So two different things. So number one, they have to fit the culture. If you come to me and you had sold 100 houses last year, but you're not a culture fit, you're not going to be a part of this. Yeah. Just because culture is that important. So it has to fit the culture. So, for example, agents are a little different. We have to make sure that they have the right mindset and understand what it's going to become to be an agent. And the reason I've learned that the hard way, everything I've learned is by trying it and realize just being self-aware and being like, well, I won't do that again. So we have let some agents down that we brought to the team because we didn't properly explain our expectations or what being a real estate agent actually was, especially on this high producing team.
Yeah.
So we make sure that number one, they're a good person, they fit the culture. And then if they're an agent, number two, we make sure we clearly define what our expectations are and what we want to deliver and the work ethic it's going to take to be a part of this.
Yeah. And what is your specific role now, Matt? Now that you guys are scaling to 750 transactions, are you still working with buyers and sellers?
No, last year, I think I sold 3 houses.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this year my goal is 0. So my goal, I work through people. I want to help people. And I realized so let's go back to, if you're watching this or listening and thinking about starting a team, the hardest thing to do at the beginning is to delegate.
Yeah.
And so that was my hardest roadblock. But once I delegated, and again, I learned from failure. I delegated too soon without the proper training. And that was my mistake. And so what I've learned is if you train them properly, and nobody's going to do it exactly like Mike. Nobody's going to do it exactly like I would do it.
Yeah.
But you have to give them that freedom to do it their own way. If they can do it 75, 80% of what you think, give them that other 20, 25%, because that allows creativity and creates buy-in.
Yeah.
But then once you delegate that and you inspect what you expect from them, then the business really grows. It really opened my eyes when I was able to do that with a few people. And I mean, 2 or 3 people on the team. And I saw that very early on. I'm like, that's where the power is. Because again, my mission was to help clients. Yeah. I realized that the more agents I could help, the more clients I could help. Yeah. And so my goal is just help as many people as I possibly can. So I have a coaching, training, whatever I need to do, fill in the blank type of role. It's really what I do.
And so your clients essentially have become your team members, right?
Yeah.
And so
my agents are, yeah.
Right. And that's how you're serving them and they're serving your clients.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's the best model. I mean, to me, I don't think there's any better way to service a client than a team. I was just having this conversation with a lady before I came in here, and I was talking about if you've ever gone into a doctor's office, the doctor is not the one that greets you at the door. The doctor is not the one that takes your blood pressure. The doctor doesn't show up typically until the end of the appointment, right?
Yeah.
But what you get is you get a really great experience. You get somebody that has a role, right? They have a role, and typically they're an expert in their respective role, and you get the highest care and attention, I think, because they're laser focused on that 1 or 2 tasks, and they do it really well. And that's what you get when you get a team. And that's why I don't think you can provide a better client experience than you would get with a team.
Dude, I could not agree more. I've never heard the doctor analogy, but what was going through my head, could you imagine walking into a doctor's appointment and the doctor, or going to surgery, and the surgeon is the one that greets you at the reception table?
Right.
I've never heard that analogy, but that makes so much sense. And that's true. I mean, we as human beings are only good at so many things.
Right.
I would rather be great at 2 or 3 things than to be okay at 15.
Sure.
I want to work on what I'm good at. And so what I try to do is try to develop people and figure out what are they naturally gifted at.
Yeah.
Also, what do they enjoy? Because we'll put you in that seat. Hiring operations. We just hired 3 new operations people recently.
Yeah.
And everybody, I said, forget the roles. We are not hiring for a transaction coordinator. We are not hiring for a receptionist. We are hiring for operations team members, and we're going to figure out what are they good at, and we'll put them in that seat.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't understand that at first. Some of my people that helped me interview were like, some of my leadership was like, that doesn't make sense. We have to give these people specific roles. I said, we absolutely will, but we're doing them a disservice if we tell them we're hiring you for this, if we don't even know if they're going to enjoy that, if they're good at that. Yeah. So I just have a different perspective on those sort of things.
Yep. No, it makes perfect sense, man. So what was it like for you to shift into being an agent who met with buyers and sellers to being just a formal team leader who, obviously when you're one of the things they don't teach, obviously, in real estate school or anywhere else for that matter, unless you're in some sort of a coaching conglomerate, is that we know as real estate agents, like the 3 most productive things we can do is negotiate contracts, appointments, and lead generation, right? That's basically should be your day if you're a real estate agent. But that's not the same as when you are a team leader. Like, your day shifts. While I guess you could say that, okay, so negotiating contracts could be a contract with a new hire, right? There's a way to shift that, but you know what I mean? how does your schedule look like today versus when it did when you were in the trenches working with buyers and sellers?
So I have way more control of my schedule now, which is great. I mean, time management. Part of that is my growth, my personal growth in time management, because I don't have that call at 7:30 at night that, hey, this listing just came on the market. Can I go see it? You know, my agents take care of that for our team. But you said something that I want to just throw a warning out there. I've heard this misconstrued so many times, and I just want to warn people. I'm just real. People think that starting the team is now the cool thing to do, right? They want to do it because it's the hype thing. It's cool. And they just want to have a team to have a team. Most teams are not very profitable, especially if your goal is to step out of production. Be prepared while you're growing that. You are going to lose traction in your sales because you're trying to duplicate what you're doing, and nobody's going to do it at the level that you used to do it. If you were a high producer, you're going to lose traction on sales, and you're going to lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
As you are growing this thing, you have to have a higher purpose. If you want to start a team because you just want to sit back and you want to teach people and you want to make a lot of money, it's not the business for you. But if you really want to make an impact and you really want to change people's lives, whether it's clients, your agents, your staff, this is the best model to do it. It just takes a while to get through those roadblocks to build it to that point.
Yeah. You know, and I think you said it best, man, when you said that you got to do it first yourself, man. You got to earn the right to be able to have a team, man. You can't and there's, you know, it's crazy because I see people in our own marketplace, like, you know, they're on a team and you ask them like, well, you know, what do you get? And they're like, well, you know, they can't even articulate what it is that they're getting from the team that they're on. And I'm like, well, it's so weird, man. You see people that, like you said, they're at like 5 transactions a year and they've started a team. And it's like, and what I think is even weirder is people are joining those teams. It's like, what are you doing, man? And so maybe we need to do a show on what to expect if you're joining a team, right? If you're an agent and you join a team, what should you expect? Because apparently people don't know that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, and those people, I mean, are probably newer agents, right? And so I don't know what your experience is, but I love brand new agents. I've had great experience with them. No offense, agents out there, but if you've been in the business 10 years and you come join my team, the first thing I've got to do is get rid of your bad habits you've developed. And so it eliminates that step for me. Don't get me wrong; it's nice to have some of that experience and leadership, but there's also a lot of benefits to having a brand new agent. The problem is it is a big time and education commitment for those people. Yeah. You have to be willing to pour into your people, otherwise they're not going to be successful.
Yeah. And so what do you do like specifically to hold yourself accountable to putting into your people? Like, are you coaching one-on-one? Are you training one-on-one with your team? And like what is that like? Tell me like what that looks like for you.
So it's recently kind of transitioned. So used to, yes. I did everything for everybody type thing. But what I've been developing over the past year and a half, maybe 2 years is other leaders on the team. You don't become a good leader until you grow other leaders, right? That's my opinion. And so that's literally what I've been working on. And so now I've got a great leadership team on the team that teaches those classes. I step in every now and then and give my input when I'm able to, or help them with a role play and help them with training. But what I've really done is develop those systems and recorded those videos and poured into those leaders, the leadership stuff that I've learned so they can pour into those people. Because again, we're in the relationship and people development business. That's what we do as real estate agents. And you cannot build a good relationship with 20 people, 25 people as one leader. It just doesn't work. You don't have enough time. I've tried it. It just doesn't work. And so you have got to develop those other leaders and teach them how to lead so that they can take care of those people.
Yeah. I like, for me, Matt, when you talk about like, I talk to like really great team leaders like you, man. And I know that it's such a good thing for our industry when those folks, because, you know, the failure rate in our industry is so high. Like it's 85% of new agents fail in their first year. And of those 15% that make it that second year, 85% of them fail in the second year. And so like I have made
the stat on 3 years on that.
What's that?
Have you heard the stat on 3 years?
No.
People that make it in the third year that are still successful. So the top of the top that make it the third year, it's like 78% of those would make more money working at McDonald's than they do in real estate.
Yeah.
So even though they made it, they didn't make it.
But see, the problem is that nobody's addressing this. Like it's just, I don't know why they continue to I guess what I'm trying to say is when one of those people that's in that 85%, they land on a team like yours, man, I would be able to double down on them at that point. You know what I mean? Because I know they're going to get the guidance and direction that they need. But so many of them, they just don't make it, either because, they have an ego that they're, not willing to be on a team because, they'd rather literally die on a vine than be in a part of somebody else's organization and learn, or they never find you. You know what I mean? They don't find you in time and they just have to get out of the business.
Yep.
How are you finding these people now? Like, do you have some sort of a hook in the water to try to generate relationships with these people?
So yes and no. My big secret, if you will, is I think we do ads on a hiring site for real estate agents.
Okay.
But that's most of our people are. We're in a relationship business.
Yeah.
It's people that I've helped build a business or love what we do culturally as a part of the team, and they tell their friends when they know they're looking for a job. Just like we get referrals for houses, I get referrals for agents and staff members. It's just by pouring into your people and building something that is bigger than just that one person, building an organization where we feel like we are doing our part to help change the world, especially our little part of it. It's just one of those things whenever you build something like that and people actually buy in and believe that, they want to bring their friends to work with them.
Yeah. Are the two offices you have, are they in the same MLS?
Yes.
Okay. And how many agents are in your MLS, Matt?
So our MLS works a little different. So I'll use boards. So we have two separate boards for each office.
Okay.
The same MLS. But between both boards, there's maybe 200, 250 agents, something like that.
Okay. 250 agents, man. That's crazy. And you've got 17 of them, right? And you got ninjas, right? You got trained assassins.
That's right.
Yeah. So like right now, how is when an agent joins your team, what can they expect from the Matt Smith Group?
Drink from a fire hose. Be ready. That's the best explanation because I know the stats on failure rates in real estate agents, and I just want better for people. And so I really went above and beyond on training so much so, and I record everything. So if you're trying to build something and I struggle with processes as I was building this. All that's up here, how do I get it on paper? I don't know. Yeah. So I just started recording myself, and then I would listen back and I was able to take notes. And that's how I built systems.
Okay.
And so that's still how we operate. So when I'm training somebody, we got 2 new interns coming that are transitioning out of the military that are starting on Monday on the team. And literally, I've got a playbook of training and onboarding ramp-up classes that they can watch if I don't have time or one of the leaders doesn't have time to train them. Yeah. The last class we did was recorded, and they can watch that. So, it's there. We have, you name it, every time we run into an obstacle, we record it because somebody can learn from that in the future.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. And so you have just a database of all this video where you can refer back to it, send it to somebody if you need to, and they can ramp up pretty quickly.
Yeah, we have checklists and all that too, but that checklist without the video is useless, Yeah. So we got video that explains it and goes in depth and a lot of hands-on stuff too. You can't watch a video and learn how to sell houses. That's not what I'm saying. So don't if you're listening, don't misconstrue that. Yeah. That's just where you start. Because then what you do is they watch that and they write down their questions, and then you can have a higher level conversation because they at least understand the basics.
Yeah. The 2 best ways to learn, man, are number 1, experience. You can't beat experience, right? And number 2 is just personal development. That's just seeking knowledge, right? So what is the number 1 lead source for your group right now?
Our number 1 lead source is past clients / referrals. People asking us if we can help them.
Okay. And how do those come in? They come in via phone call?
Yeah, they call the office. They come into our website. They a past client will send a text message to one of the agents. Hey, so-and-so is looking to buy a house. Can you help them? Yeah. They just come in everywhere.
And Matt, when they come in, typically, do they ask for you? And then how do you delegate that? How are you able to hand that off without, getting pushback from the client?
That's so funny you asked that. I was having a leadership meeting with my leaders yesterday, and I was going back to referencing when we first started the team. And he was my assistant at the time, transitioning to a new buyer's agent as we started the quote unquote team. And so we called it Matt Smith Real Estate Group. Nobody had heard that name besides me and him. And we were just going through, and I mean, we started from absolute zero. Not to get into the weeds, but our last broker took all our listings, all our contracts, everything as we transitioned to the team.
Yeah.
So we were starting from absolute zero. And I'm like, all I know to do is work. And so we just found leads, bought leads, and just started calling all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I had to beg him to say, I'm Ryan with Matt Smith Real Estate Group, because every time they're like, who are you? Because nobody had heard of our company. But that's how you got to start to build a brand. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because we were just talking about that yesterday. So I got sidetracked. What was your question?
No, you're good. No, like now, let a client, obviously they call in, they want to talk to Matt Smith, right? Like,
Sure,
I want Matt Smith to come list my property. How are you able to hand that off or make that transition to one of your buyer or listing specialists?
Yeah. So it's not easy. Because you don't want the clients to feel, this was a struggle for years. And it still is from time to time, because I don't want the clients to feel like they're not important and I don't want to help them. But what I've just ingrained into my people is that they can help them better than I can. I have other commitments that I've got to do so that I can provide that client higher service through you. And so you just have to it just takes time. I mean, and some clients still don't understand it. And I still got to get on the phone sometimes to kind of smooth that over and explain that to them, because they don't understand. They just feel like I'm putting them on the back burner, and that's not it at all. Through doing that process, I'm able to give them a higher level of service.
Yeah. I'm just curious, Matt, for a guy like you, who's just like, I mean, obviously you're great at what you do. You always have been. I mean, I knew that since the first time I talked to you. Where does like looking out over, let's say 3-5 years, like where do you look to take this thing, man? Like what is the ceiling for you, brother, if there is one?
So I have a personal rule, is I have no ceilings. So every time I see a ceiling, I get rid of it. And so that's part of the reasons why I've transitioned over the years to different companies. But so the hard part with that is that we are in a pretty rural area, and we already have great market share. And so I'm realistic. We're not going to take over 100% market share. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But I think that we can still continue to grow our market share. And what I've really enjoyed doing recently is I've been helping other agents across the country and coaching and training them to do similar things to what I'm doing, or whatever they want to do in their business. And I found a lot of joy and happiness in that, because it just helps me have that higher level conversation and help people. I can now help people change their business across the world. It's a pretty cool feeling.
The internet is a great thing. And if I know you, I know you're a fully transparent dude, man. And I know you're willing to share that information with anybody that has questions. I'm just curious, man, what's like, if somebody wants to get a hold of you about, growing a team, or let's just say they have general questions about, being a real estate agent, what's the best way to get in touch with you, my man?
I mean, for that, probably, probably just shoot me a message on Facebook, and we can set up a one-on-one meeting. Just shoot me a message on Facebook. I would give out my cell phone number, but I'll check Facebook more than my cell phone, because it goes crazy all the time. So that's probably the best way. And that way I can get back to you, and we can actually set up a one-on-one meeting. But yeah, if you're watching this or listening to this and you have questions about what we're talking about, no charge, no nothing. I'd love to talk with people. Again, I just enjoy helping people. And my new mission, what I've found more joy in now is now that my team is got some leaders in place and doing a lot of the stuff that I don't have to be in the day-to-day as much anymore. It allows me to shift my focus a little bit and help other people on a higher level. So I just really enjoy doing that. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. And I think that's a natural progression for any great team lead, is when you've had incredible success and you've gotten to the level that you're at. I think it's just natural to want to share that with people. You liken it to like, just putting your hand down and wanting to pull people up with you. You know what I mean? And like, you're on a level right now where, you're probably wanting to, you want to share with as many people as possible. You want to try and change as many lives as possible, because the more lives that you change, the better it is for you. Right.
That's right.
Money flows to value, right? Money flows to the value you deliver out into the universe. And so, and I'm a huge Zig Ziglar guy, right? If you help enough other people get what they want, you can get what you want. And so, like, if you're delivering value to the marketplace, which you have a great platform to do that now, not only locally as a team leader, but I mean, hell, that worldwide now, because EXP, we're in 18 countries. Yeah. And there are people that want to be at the level of success that you're at. So now you're on a platform right now where you're able to get that information out and to disseminate it to the right people. And I think, you're going to continue to see, not only your team grow locally, but your presence grow nationwide and hell, maybe even worldwide for that matter.
That's right. Yeah. And that's, I think what it comes down to is what you said, man. It's the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
What you give is what you get. So one of my mentors, Adam Bailey, I think you had him on your show a while back. He's helped me with a lot of different problems in my business and hurdles and different things. And he told me the best way he explained the analogy was you can't withdraw from the bank until you put money in there. You got to deposit first. And sometimes you got to deposit 10 times before you can take one out.
Yeah.
So what you give, and I've realized this. I mean, I don't know what it is. That's just how the world works. I've just come to realize it. If you have the right intentions to help people and what you give, you will get it back eventually. Whether it's in the form of money, joy, happiness, there's way more to life than money. And that's just one of the things too that I wanted to hit on today is that in my business, as we started to grow, I was in a spot where I came from some financial struggles. I'll just say that, not to get too much in the weeds there, but I needed money. I had a newborn at home and was struggling. And so I was new into sales. And if you don't sell, you don't make any money, right? And so I was focused on the wrong things. I was focused on the paycheck. As soon as my mindset shift to these are people that are trusting me to buy a home or sell a home. As soon as my mindset shift to I need to provide them a better level of service, my business exploded and it's never stopped since.
Yeah.
When I was focusing on the dollar, I was struggling.
Yeah.
When I said, I don't care if I make money. I need to help these people. These people deserve more. The world rewarded me and we've grown like crazy. So
buyers and sellers can smell that commission breath from a mile away, brother.
That's right.
Right. It is such a great paradigm shift though, when you talk to people, and we have this conversation probably weekly because, it's not natural to take stuff from people. It's not natural to take, right? What's natural is to give, right? Giving is natural. And so most people are scared to make phone calls because they think they're calling to take something from somebody, right? Yeah. And what they don't understand is they have the knowledge, they have what that buyer or that seller wants, and they can give that to them. And you talked about the law of reciprocity. When you call to give, then you receive. Yep. And so people are scared to make phone calls typically because it's not in alignment. It's not congruent with their character. And so when they have that shift, though, you see that change, that fear subsides, and then they're able to have those conversations. And you're right. That's when the business really starts to take off, man. So glad you shared that point, man. Well, we're up against the clock here, and I know you're a busy dude, and I always appreciate the time you and I get to spend together. So if you want to get in touch with Matt, like I said, Matt's a fully transparent guy, easy, good, easy to talk to. He'll give you the shirt off of his back, and that's just the way he was raised. But he said if you need to get in touch with him, make sure and just DM him on Facebook. It's the best way to get in touch with him. Matt, any parting shots, brother, before I let you jump off here?
I have one other note here I wanted to hit on.
Okay.
So if you're in business right now, so last year, the pandemic, right? There's so many businesses and so many, it's craziness in the world. If you are a business owner, if you are wanting to grow a team in real estate, if you already have a team in real estate, your job as a leader is to make those quick adjustments. Don't sit on your hands and wait for something to happen. Go out and be proactive and make things happen. For example, whenever we hit the pandemic, we had to shut our office down, all that good stuff. Yeah. The first thing I did was I called all my lead sources, went to my marketing budget, and I doubled everything. That's the mindset I have. Is somebody's going to come out of this on top, and it's going to be me. It's going to be us.
Yeah.
The meetings we had with our agents, and what inspired me was how inspired they were and excited they were, because it's not a challenge. It was an opportunity. It was an opportunity to help more people that are even in more need now, because maybe they lost their job and need to sell their home. It's our responsibility to make sure that we help them sell that during this time. And when you just tie it to a bigger need and you're able as a leader to make those quick changes and see your people jump in with both feet on that, I mean, that's really how we scaled in the weirdest year I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. And you can drop the mic on that one, baby. That's a great little nugget. And that's a ballsy move, by the way, man. Double down on everything across the board. But you're right. What we see typically when these types of things happen, right, is there's always opportunity, right? Where I guarantee you, probably 80-90% of your marketplace, what did they do? They cut everything in half, right? They cut everything in half. You doubled down, right? And so that you were able to grab that market share, and you will continue to do so with that type of attitude, brother. I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, as usual, I love sharing these stories week after week because I know this show is literally changing agents' lives, my own included. Do me a big favor. If you know someone that might enjoy the podcast, please, please, please share it with them. And if you like the podcast, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure and you hit that subscribe button. If you like Mr. Matt Smith's episode today, please give us a 5-star review. Don't forget to visit MikeWallLive.com where you can get 8 hours worth of absolutely free business training. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again soon. Matt, thanks so much, brother.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.